So the Mavic 4 Pro brings top-tier camera features and advanced controls to the drone market, but not every pilot can buy one. Some features remain delayed or unavailable, along with high price tags, and that's just the start. So let's jump in. So if you want the best imaging power and real filmmaking potential in a drone, then the Mavic 4 Pro is definitely the biggest upgrade that DJI has launched in years. But I want to break down what's actually new and improved, with the main highlight being the triple camera system. And while I've done a number of videos on the channel talking about the leaked specs, which mostly came out to be correct, I wanted to go through all of the specs that we got yesterday as this drone was announced. So let's run down the full specs list and then I'll give you my thoughts. So first up, we have that 28mm Hasselblad camera built around that 4/3 CMOS sensor, now capable of shooting 100 megapixel stills and 6K video at up to 6 frames per second in HDR. DJI is claiming 16 stops of dynamic range on that sensor, along with its dual native ISO. Our mid-tele camera comes in at 70mm with a 1/1.3 inch sensor supporting 48 megapixels and 4K at 60 frames a second with slow-mo at 4K up to 120. That camera effectively remains unchanged. The long telephoto camera did get an upgrade. It is now 168mm equivalent with a 1/1.5 inch sensor, previously a 1/2 inch sensor, and it can now deliver 50 megapixel stills, an improvement over the previous 12 megapixel variant with 4K HDR in 60 frames per second and a 100 FPS slow-mo option. Another improvement is that now all three of these cameras can provide DJI's full range of color profiles, including D-Log, D-Log-M, and HLG, meaning that you'll get consistent color and flexibility from lens to lens. So moving away from the individual cameras and the larger imaging system itself, there is a huge improvement, which I think is the headline feature of this drone, which is its infinity gimbal, offering 360-degree roll rotation and up to 70 degrees worth of tilt upwards for new types of creative shots. Now, improved low light performance is being anchored by their new LiDAR sensor, which they claim can allow you to fly and land safely in what is effectively moonlight levels. That is 0.1 or 1/10 of 1 lux. As always, in each iteration of DJI drones, the autopilot and tracking features have been improved. Active Track 360 enables precision object tracking in tight and tricky environments. There's a bird-specific tracking mode aimed at wildlife shooters. On the operational side, the Mavic Pro brings 90 kilometers per hour of speed and a best-case flight time of 51 minutes. Combine that with the O4 Plus transmission system when using the RC Pro 2 controller, and you'll get 30 kilometers of maximum range, though that number may vary depending on the environments that you're in. Several of the creators that were able to review this drone did indicate that the noise suppression is quite impressive, and that at 10 meters distance, this drone is almost impossible to hear and practically silent at 40 meters. Now, pricing wise, and I'm gonna give this to you in US dollars, but we'll talk about US dollars in just a second, that the pricing is currently set at $26.99 for the base model, which includes the 64 gigabytes of storage and support for H.264 and H.265 HEVC recording at up to 180 megabits per second. And there is a Fly More combo available, but the Creator combo is really where I think a lot of the attention is going, as that targets the more professional content creators. That one's priced at $4,649. That combo adds the RC Pro 2 controller and 512 gigabytes of onboard storage. And you're gonna need that storage because it is recording in a super high bitrate H.265 codec that is 10-bit 422. And while this doesn't necessarily replace the missing ProRes and the missing Cine version of this drone, one interesting bit to note on this codec is that it is an all-I codec or an all-intra codec, meaning that while the individual frames do have compression applied, there is not mid-compression added, unlike IPB or long GOP recording, where you have full frames connected by interpolated frames. An all-eye codec allows for much easier and simpler editing. However, it does generate much larger file sizes. And when you combine that with the improvements that they made to the sensors and the addition of D-Log, the flexibility of the footage that you're going to be getting out of this drone is great. Again, not to the level of ProRes, but close. And if your plan is to shoot in log in all-eye, just know that you will need to expand your workflow. If you want to get the best results out of the sensors on this drone, it will take more work with things like LUTs and post-production color grading workflows. Really quick, I've got something special for those of you who are supporting my channel. Starting May 31st, I've got 2 brand new creative tools that I'm gonna make available exclusively for my YouTube channel members. I'm not gonna sell these anywhere else. Channel members are gonna get access to my Spring Tone Lightroom preset pack. This is designed for clean, natural portraits, family sessions. I've been using it all season, as well as Cinelabs, which is my curated LUT pack with 5 cinematic looks crafted specifically for video. If you're already a member, they'll be waiting for you at the end of the month. If not, just join right here on the channel to get instant access when they drop. So in all honesty, with these specs, features, pricing, they're pushing the Mavic 4 into full professional territory. While we still may get a Cine model, and the lack of the Cine model is somewhat of a disappointment, especially considering the lack of ProRes, a 1200 megabit, 10-bit all-eye codec in 422 is much appreciated. But I'm curious to know if you, as someone who might be shooting with the Mavic 4 Pro, is someone who would be shooting in these log modes, or are you someone who would more likely shoot with standard color profiles? I want to talk about some key features and some new additions that we have on the Mavic 4 Pro, starting with the Infinity Gimbal, which may be a big part of why people choose or choose not to purchase this drone. So the Infinity Gimbal is the major new hardware feature that sets the Mavic 4 Pro apart from its predecessors and really every other drone out there. You can rotate the camera 360 degrees on a roll axis that allows you to create footage that really only would have been possible using a gimbal. And if I remember correctly, that was one of the signature features on the Ronin S when they announced it a couple of years back. But they've made this very simple. You press the C1 button, turn the right dial, and the thing starts to move. They've also got that 70-degree upward tilt option, which gives you all sort of kind of creative freedom. And they've added a quick shot feature for rotate, which automatically does the rotation as you fly advanced tracking shots. And in that mode, you can customize both the angle and the speed that it does the rotation. So this is a feature that gives you some cool new moves, but moves need to tell a story, and tools need to be used with intention. Otherwise, you're gonna burn out your audience. So I'm curious if any of you see yourself actually using the new camera moves associated with the rotation of the Infinity Gimbal. Additionally, the Infinity Gimbal is linked to the RC Pro 2 and the screen that it has attached. And I don't think anybody should be surprised about this if you have a Pocket 3, because the Pocket 3 does the same thing, right? You just flip that little bad boy and your camera flips. And so now we basically have the same thing on the Mavic 4 Pro. But again, I ask, does this tool have an intention? Because while I perfectly well understand that vertical video is a growing and huge component of the overall content landscape, how often are we generating vertical video drone shots to be delivered in vertical? I feel that that is a very small percentage of content creation right now. Next, let's talk about shooting at night, or at least in seriously dark conditions, without risking your drone. Right, the drone has that 0.1 lux low light sensor, which means that it can effectively detect obstacles in close to near darkness. The front-facing LiDAR builds a data map for your environment to support safe takeoff, landing, and flight in low visibility areas. And obviously the imaging has been improved on all of these sensors with improved aperture, improved ISO, and AI-based machine learning noise reduction to deliver better results in nighttime cityscapes, event recording, or outdoor adventures. But I have to ask again, is this a tool that has a proper intention? How often are we really shooting footage in extremely low light environments? Should we be shooting in low light environments like that? I'm not saying that it's not a great feature, and I'm sure that it's going to work wonderfully, but is this something that people were having a really hard time with in the previous iterations of DJI drones? Real quick, I just want to jump into our Mavic 4 video to say that this video is sponsored by me. Unless I say otherwise, every video on this channel is backed by my photography business, Joseph Blake Photography. YouTube ad revenue is nice, but it doesn't keep the lights on. I'm a working professional photographer, and this is how I make a living. Now, I specialize in portraits, family sessions, and photo and video work for small businesses. So if you're in Las Vegas, LA, Riverside, Orange County, or San Diego and need professional content that makes you actually look good, I am available. You'll find booking info and links down in the description. Now back to our video. Another feature that I wanted to point out that there's really no question about the intentionality of this particular tool, which is the more powerful charging unit that we have in the Fly More combo and in the Creator combo. The 240 watt charging station will fully charge one battery in 43 minutes, or all three batteries in 90 minutes. And considering the fact that this drone has a 51-minute potential flight time, you could cycle through these batteries and have very little downtime. But speaking of downtime, it does also come with Wi-Fi 6, which allows up to 700 megabytes per second of file transfers, and that's even with the drone powered down. So again, the intention here is to speed up your workflow, which I think everyone can appreciate. But I am curious, how many people are using Wi-Fi to transfer off of their drone, especially if you're shooting in 10-bit log? Wouldn't you just connect it using a cable? And lastly, I just want to point out that just about every, we'll call them quality of life feature on this drone has been improved. The new controller is amazing. It is bright. The screen is larger. We don't have to fiddle with screwing in our sticks anymore because they just automatically pop up and down. And there's a new adjustment wheel on the controller that allows you to quickly get to your exposure controls. It's got a built-in mic. It's got 128 gigabytes of built-in storage. It supports DJI's wireless mic system, not a surprise there. And the battery life is 4 hours. And not related specifically to the controller, but the drone powers on when you open up the props, and the controller powers on when you flip up the screen. So again, just lots of really nice refinements to the overall fit and finish and the overall quality on the Mavic 4 Pro and its accessories. And then with the launch of the drone, it's day one, and there's already a big firmware update for the Mavic Pro. So what's in it? Well, a lot, actually. They unlocked multiple features at launch. The power on feature is now unlocked. They've got that audio recording through the RC2. They've added in the cloud waypoint storage, which can be synced across multiple devices. There's a tint adjustment in the manual white balance setting, so you can fine tune your color across all three cameras. And they've added the gimbal roll control to the focus track in spotlight mode and expanded the tilt angles in portrait mode to allow for more dynamic shooting. There's also improved low angle perspectives for folks shooting still panoramas, and those are available both in the main Hasselblad 28mm and the medium telephoto 70mm. They also claim that they've improved obstacle detection and image quality in this update, although you will need version 1.17 or newer of the DJI Fly app. But if you are a person who bought this drone on day one, I'd like to know how your firmware experience has gone. So there's no question, this is one of the most advanced consumer drones that you can buy, period. I don't think that's up for debate, unless you live in the United States. So the Mavic 4 Pro launched in Canada, the UK, Europe, Mexico, and Australia with a starting price around $2,049 Canadian, 1,879 pounds, or 2,099 Euro bucks. But in the US, the drone is officially unavailable. And that's as a result of US tariffs, import rules, and the continuing scrutiny from US Customs and Border Patrol on the way in which DJI drones are made. But some of our US retailers, like Adorama and B&H, did briefly list the Mavic 4 Pro as available. Stock was confirmed at the DJI New York City store for a very brief window, and a handful of YouTubers were actually seen here in the US reviewing this thing, even though review units weren't officially sent to anyone in the United States. For US buyers considering cross-border purchases, be aware DJI has claimed that they will not honor warranties for drones purchased outside your region. So if you managed to buy a Mavic 4 Pro in the US, especially before it disappeared, I want to hear your story. Let me know down in the comments. Are you worried about your warranty, or are you just glad to have your drone? Another headline feature that's missing at launch is the electronic ND or END. This filter is nowhere to be found in the Creator Combo, and we assumed that it would be packaged potentially with the Cine version, which we also didn't get. Now this was supposed to be a Hasselblad branded snap-on electronically adjustable ND filter, allowing you to darken your camera's exposure digitally from ND4 to ND64 without needing to land and physically move or swap glass. This combined with the variable aperture is phenomenal for shooting in variable outdoor scenes. Effectively, you get between 2 and 6 stops of light modification without having to change anything, including your shutter or your aperture, while shooting in harsh light. At one point, it was reported that this product would be delayed as a result of tariffs and other things related to the Cine not being released, and DJI has quietly dropped it from the Creator Combo, although now we know that that is due to technical issues. And for a package costing over $3,500, in some cases over $4,000, pilots are understandably frustrated. Sources are suggesting a potential for a standalone release before the end of May, priced at almost $220 and compatible with any of the Mavic 4 Pros. Hopefully it doesn't go the way of the RC Track. So if you're holding out for the official DJI END filter, how long are you willing to wait? Or would you potentially switch to third-party options that will be available soon? So I want to jump in really quickly to tell you a quick story. While my wife and I were in the hospital welcoming our baby girl, my personal Facebook and Instagram accounts were hacked and permanently shut down. My professional Instagram that I built over years was gone. And as a photographer, having a visible presence matters. So I'm rebuilding, and I can use your help. To make it worthwhile, I'm running a giveaway. I get gear from brands all the time for reviews, and once I'm done, I don't always keep it. Instead, I'm giving it to you. So here's how to enter. Go follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my channel, and comment on this video that I followed you on Instagram. Once I hit 1,000 followers, I'll start sending out free gear. And if you really want to help, like and share the content while you're there. It makes a big difference. So that's what I've got on the Mavic 4 Pro today, but if you want to support what I'm doing here, consider becoming a channel member. You'll get access to exclusive resources like LUTs, presets, highlighted comments, members-only live videos, and early access to new uploads. Additionally, if you are looking to book a photo or video session, all the details are in the description. I work in Las Vegas, LA, Riverside, Orange County, and San Diego. You'll also find all of my gear links down there, including my 2025 Content Creator Essentials list for anyone looking to get started. Now, those are all affiliate links, so picking something up does help the channel. But don't forget, I am rebuilding my Instagram after losing my official account. There is a giveaway going on to help get the word out. Just follow me on Instagram, subscribe here, and drop a comment saying, followed you on Instagram. But the easiest way to support the channel is to like the video, hit subscribe, that's free, and it really helps. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.